Hi everyone. So I'm going to show you how to create a basic to-do application in Bubble. So let me share my screen and we start. When you first sign up, this is the screen that you're going to see, and you can always take their lessons. It gives some nice information and everything, but I will show you step by step for our first simple to-do application. So a to-do application has more or less like two screens, right? So first, I mean, if we are developing a to-do list application for a end user, first we need to have a place where we add some to-do list, to-do item. Then we need to have a place where we list those items, right? So this is the simplest way a to-do list works. Add in one screen and view in another screen. So this is what we are going to do. So this is your main Bubble homepage after you sign in, and you will create a new app over here. And my to-do is the name. And these other information is not very important. You can select any of them, like maybe you're creating other application. It is maybe internal. Is it used by external people or internal people? It doesn't really matter at this point. And what's the goal? You want to start a business or build a tool for yourself. I mean, again, it's not very important at this point. My to-do is taken, so they want something unique over here. So I'll just say my name and to-do. So it's creating the application now. So when it's created, it's going to ask you, do you want to follow the assistant, their assistant, like it will help you to show stuff around, etc. So we don't want to do that for now. So I will start with blank and I will start from scratch. Okay, close the assistant as well. So this is your page. Okay, so when you hover your mouse over here, you see that this line is appearing. So the content of this is your page. Okay. So in a software product, we have three main elements, okay, while developing a software, because now we are in the developing phase. So there is nothing the end user sees currently, the customer sees currently. There is nothing like that. You are the developer, and this is how you develop software. So there are three main stuff. First, the design of the pages, obviously, right? How the page is going to look like. So maybe there is a label over on top. Maybe there's a button to add stuff. Maybe the lists on top of each other. So this is how it's working out, right? And then there is the data, because in order to create a to-do item, we should store the data somewhere, right? You can think it like an Excel sheet. So you store the data and save it. So this is how it's worked basically. We store the data somewhere, okay? And then the workflow, we give some dynamicity to our application. So let's start. Maybe the first screen, I will just show the title of my to-do. So I will just drag and drop over here, or you can just click and create some with prefix size. Okay, so you can say my to-do application. This is the title of this is the home page. Yeah. So you can, these are the properties, by the way. And these properties are changing according to the elements that you selected. For example, I will probably put some kind of a button at the end to edit, and it will have different properties. This will have different properties, so it shows the relevant properties to the element that you selected. So I will say, maybe I want to maybe make it bigger, so I will click on the rich text editor over here and center, make it center, and you select it and you make it a little bigger. So that's better. Then we have a button. Then obviously there should be some place where we add the text for our to-do, like we want to add some to-do item or add task to the system. So we will just check the element that's available to us, and it is an input, right? It's an input to the system in some way. So it's an input form. I will select input and put it over right here. So we have a title, we have a place to enter text, and we have the button. Okay, and the button we can just say what's going to happen, like if the end user sees it. Maybe let's see it. Let's see it first. So this is how we design the page, right? In the design, we design the page. We can preview it over here. Okay, there's a preview button as you see on top right. So when I click preview, it's going to open a new tab and it's going to be the thing that you see. Now this is the page that your users is going to see now. Okay, you are the developer, you see those, but this is how your end user is going to see it. Okay, so for example, what we can do more, we can select all of them. Again, how you can make it as beautiful as possible, as fancy as possible. For now, we are just going to focus on functionality, not the good user interface. But for example, what you can do, you can select all of them and you can arrange right here and center horizontally. So it will be horizontally centered in the center of the screen. Okay, so this is a to-do applications homepage, right? So it looks like this. I will add my task to my task. So, but of course, we need to store this somewhere. And this is where the data tab in the software builder of Bubble comes in. Okay, click on the data tab, not the design anymore. This is how the page looks like to the end user. We will click on the data and we will see that there are some data types. So this is the thing that we discussed. Most of the software nowadays can be modeled by, okay, these are the entities and these are the properties. So for example, in Canvas, we have courses. Each course has a name and whatnot. On Facebook, we have users. Each user has a list of posts, for example. Each post has a text, description, time maybe. So you got the point, right? We can model it like this. So in our to-do application, consists of some types, right? So this is what we call the entity. So some type, for example, to-do item, right? We will create it. So we created a new type, and the fields of it is, some of them are automatically done by Bubble, obviously, but we can say what kind of stuff does a to-do item have. For example, it has obviously a description, right? Description of this to-do item, and its type is text. So we add it. Okay. So it is like an Excel sheet. Let me open Excel. Currently, what we are doing is, for example, if there would be a tab called over here to do items, what kind of columns would there be, right? For example, there might be a description, there might be a due date, and whatever others, right? So these are my list of tasks. And maybe there will be a completed flag or not, right? So as you see now, we are describing how the to-do item look like. So this is exactly how it is, how a to-do item looks like. It has a description, it has a due date, and the due date's type is date, and it has a completed flag or not. I'll just keep it simple for now. So this is where we could define items. Okay, we define new types. You can add as many types as possible. For example, if you're developing Canvas, you can create a type called course, and this course might have a field called name of the course, which is a text. Code of the course, like CS490 MGT299X, it is again a text, right? You can add many stuff. So you got the point, I guess. Then this is just defining the type. So it is like we are giving the column names, but we also have the data, right? So where are they? This is in the app data. When you click on app data, you will see that all to-do items, and they are empty, of course, for now. So no one has added something to the system currently. So we want to do it by using a page, obviously. Okay, we want to add this, for example, whatever the user entered here, and click the button, then it's going to be added to our data. This is what we want to do. Now let's do this. So let's go back to the design, and now we know the name of this button, maybe add item, right? So whatever this is going to be added to the database. Okay. So now when we talk about like when this is clicked, do something, right? We talk about some dynamic behavior. So it's not a design anymore. It's like what needs to happen when someone clicks somewhere. So this is some kind of a dynamic behavior, which brings us to the third place in our software, which is the workflow. This is the workflow. This basically help us to encode the dynamic behavior, like what's going to happen when you click on this button, what's going to happen when you click on X, right? All these kind of events is encoded here. And the easiest way to do this is, for example, when you click on a button, you can double click if the property window is not open. Double click and the property window is open. So you can see that there's a button over here for start or edit workflow. So I will click on it. It's going to take me to the workflow tab, and it will create an automatic action saying that when button add to do item is clicked, what should happen? This is okay. What should happen? What do you want to do? Look at your logic. What do you want to do? I want to create a new task, right? I want to create a new task, and the description of this text should be coming from here. So I will go to the workflow and encode what I said in the action as a list of actions. So I want to create something. When you click on to add an action, you will see that there are some items over here that is useful for you. For example, you want to deal with data, right? You want to create a new thing. So I want to create a new thing. Yes, create a new thing. And when you say you create a new thing, you see the properties of this action over here now. So what do you want to create? I want to create a to-do item. So a new to-do item is going to be created by just selecting this action. But of course, I still didn't say that the description of the new task should come from this text box, right? I didn't do this yet. I will do this right over here. So when you create a new to-do item, where should the description of it come, right? So the description of it should come from the input. So you see when you click on, it will tell you the properties of the to-do item, the due date, the description. You remember the things that we created? The description of a new to-do item should come from the input A's value. And input A is this, obviously. Its name is input A. So it should come from this. Now, by just doing this, we created some dynamicity as well. Let's preview it. And it refreshed, okay, and my first task, add to do item. Now nothing happened. I mean, it looks like nothing happened because the only thing we said was add a new to do item. And let's go back to our data and see if it's really added. Go to the data tab in your builder, go to add data. It may not automatically refresh. Go to another page and come back, and you will see that your first task is added. So now we actually created our first dynamic software, not static. It has some dynamicity as well. Okay. So, but of course, you might say this is not a very good behavior, right? Technically, what needs to happen? Maybe it should tell me some kind of a message saying that it is added, right? Because currently it doesn't do anything, right? It just added and does nothing. So a message would be fine, right? A message. So I will go to my designer page and I will see the available elements and try to find something that looks like a message. Alert. It looks like a message. So I will just create an alert. This is an alert. Okay. It's not visible currently. I mean, it is visible to you as the designer, but when you preview it, it's not visible. Okay. When it's going to be visible, probably after the task is added, you will add this as an action, saying that add the task and show a message saying that the task is successfully added. So do item is added. This is the message. You can see check other properties. For example, position the alert at the top. You can just directly put it at the top. Okay. And let's go to our workflow because the workflow defines what's going to happen after the button is clicked. First thing is create a new to-do item. Let's go and add another action. After creating a new to-do item, what's going to happen? For example, it recommends you that reset the relevant inputs. So there are inputs over here. Maybe you want to reset them, right? You can reset them. Okay. So it makes them empty. So another one. Now I want to show the alert. So it will take some time to get used to, but it is an element action basically to show an alert, like here, show message. Okay. Just maybe just travel around and make yourself familiar with what kind of other stuff is available. But show message, and it's going to say which element do you want to show. A to-do item is added alert, and I want to hold it 2 seconds. I want to fade in, fade out, etc. We can change main properties, but default is also fine. Now, when this button is clicked, create a new to-do item and get the description of to-do item from the text box that is available on the page. Then after adding, reset the box, then show the message that it is added. Let's preview now. New task to edit, and yes, the message is not over. It showed up 2 seconds and it faded away. You can change it to be like 5 seconds. No, this is like in terms of milliseconds, obviously. Okay. Let's preview it again. Another task, edit, and this is gonna stick like for 5 seconds now. And we go to data, and let's see, go and come back. Yes, the other 2 tasks are added as well. So this was the first part. Now we successfully added a task. Now in a good system, obviously, just adding the task is not enough, right? You want to see a place where you list the tasks. Okay, so that is what we are going to do now. We want to go to a new page after the task is added, maybe, that shows the task list of tasks that's in my system. Okay, so for this reason, I will create a new page. Okay, you see this is showing the pages currently, this part. We created all of this in the index page, but I can add a new page, for example, to show the task list, to-do list, let's say. You can clone from other pages, like if you did some nice good design, for example, in one page and you don't want to do it again, you can clone, but I will start from scratch. So an empty page called to-do list. Okay. It doesn't do anything. It is empty, as you see. So what we can do over here is maybe we can show one of the tasks. Okay, just one of the tasks in the system. How we can do it? Obviously, a text is just a text, right? The to-do item is just a bunch of text, right? So I will just create a text over here, and instead of writing this by hand this time, I want the value of this to be coming from our data. So now we want to read maybe one of these guys to be visible over here. How I can do it? I will click on the value, but this time I will insert dynamic data. So this is dynamic, right? This is changing. Whenever any task is added, this table is added and new values are coming, etc. So we add a dynamic data, and to access the data, you do a search for. This is what we use. You do a search for. You do a search for something, which is you do a search for to-do item, for example. Don't do anything else for now. Just close it. So this basically says search for the to-do items in my list, okay, in my application. And what's going to happen? Search for to-do items and get the first one. For example, this says get the first one, first item. And now we have the first item, get the description of it. Why not? So basically the value of this text will be the data. The first one is value. Okay, so this is how we encode it. First one's description. Let's preview this page now. You see the first one added, and it shows the first one. Now it is dynamic. Again, this is like an Excel sheet. Okay, your data flow, data tab is like an Excel sheet. So basically, you can do anything with this data that you see. You can edit it. For example, let's edit this one. You can edit by this pencil sign. And my first task, update it, edit it, save it, and you go over here. You see, it's showing that value. It's also updated. Very nice. So, but what we want to do is not only one value, right? We want to do multiple values. So, because a to-do list is a list of tasks, obviously, right? List of to-do items. So even you can see it here. There are 3. I want to show all 3. If there are 10, I want to show all 10 in this page. So for that, there is a special structure that Bubble is providing called repeating group. So I will just click and create a repeating group over here. Let's delete this one. We don't need this one anymore. This is a repeating group. Repeating group basically says, I want to display a list of things in this guy. Okay. And when in the properties of a repeating group, it says, what type of content do you want to display? Let's click on it. Obviously, I want to display to the to-do items, right? And where the data is coming from, the data of this guy, right? The content of this guy is coming from, now it should come from our data tab. So I will click to do a search for to-do items, and we don't need to do anything else for now. Okay. So I want to display to-do items in this list, and the data is coming from the data in my system. Okay. So that's pretty nice. So when you preview the page, you're gonna see that the repeating group is there, but it is empty because we didn't design how the to-do item should look like in each cell. Okay. Should it be big? Should it be small? Where should be the text? What color is it? Right? All this kind of stuff, we didn't put it. So now we're gonna decide, we're gonna design the first cell in here, and the rest will be copied from. So for example, how I want a to-do item to be displayed, there will obviously be a description. Okay, so this is the description of it. Right? And you see, the rest is look more grayish, and it is not, I mean, it is doing the same thing as the first cell, because this is a repeating group. You first design the first one, the rest is copied from here. So now we will do the same. The value of this text will be coming from whatever is the corresponding to-do item, right? So I should insert dynamic data. And when you insert dynamic data, you will see that there is a nice smart bubble feature over here. It says current cells to-do item, because it knows that it is in a repeating group, and repeating group is meant to display to-do items. It will definitely know that there is a to-do item in this cell. Current cells to-do item. Okay. Current cells to-do items. What? I want to print or display the description of it. Description. That's it. Current cells to-do item description. So basically, it will go over all the data and it will put the values one by one. Let's preview it again. Yeah. Now our 3 tasks is currently here. Right. I hope this is pretty clear, because in today's world, obviously there are this repeating group is the standard for anything. Okay. For example, if you just check a news web page like Reddit or anything like this is a repeating group, right? Because it basically shows that this is repeated. On your Facebook page, it is repeated. The posts are repeated. or on your Instagram, the pictures are repeated. The value of it is changing, like the content of it is changing, but the design of it looks more or less same. So this is what we call a repeated group. Okay, so again, what we want to do now, we are good now. Okay, so but for example, let's go to our index page, and maybe after adding a to-do item, I want to go to the list page automatically. Right? I don't want to stay here anymore. Maybe I want to go to the list page. I can do this, right? I can go to the workflow. When add button is clicked, first create a new to-do item, then reset the inputs, then show message, then what? I go to the other page. Click here for an action. I navigate to another page. Which page? To-do list page. That's it. Preview. I will add my fourth task. Add to-do item is going to add the task, show the message, and redirect me to the list page. So everything works as I encoded, as I designed. And the fourth task, as you see, is now displayed over here. So what this was the simple assignment that you can add your to-do item with your name on it and show it here on this page. This is the minimal case that you can do. But for example, what else I can do? Maybe I can have a link over here somewhere that directly take me to the list. Why not? Like for example, I can put an icon or a button, doesn't matter. Icon. Let's say an icon. And the icon will be something like a list, maybe, right? Something like a list. And now what should happen when we click on this? That means I will start or edit workflow. So, which will bring me to the workflow tab. When icon list is clicked, what needs to happen? I will directly go to the list page, right? That's it. Preview. When this is clicked, I will directly go to the list page. Yep. And I can do the same in the other page. Maybe there will be go to design. There will be a plus icon over here that will take me directly to the add page. Okay, this was a button. Let's delete it. And let's put an icon instead. And I can choose maybe something like a plus. Yeah, some plus sign. And I will start and edit the workflow again for this one, which should take me to the page so that I can. So the addition was happening in the index page. As you see, the naming is pretty important, right? I wish it was like something like add to-do item, something like that. But it will take me to the index page. Let's preview, and there's a new button over here. And when you click on it, you're gonna come back here. Now you have a decent starter to-do list application for yourself. That's it for this part. So obviously we will do more, and we can make it more fancier. Again, this is just a design 2-page, right? It doesn't look fancy at all. And the task, maybe they have more due dates or everything. We didn't touch that yet, but there will be more of it. Okay, thank you.